a second. Also, Dojan, welcome in everybody. I am James the Jam, and today we will be talking about RWBY Volume 4. And today we actually had a very good time watching it together. Very good. Now, get into our thoughts about it, and probably some of the interesting behind the scenes, or some things that at least I noticed when going from the first 3 volumes into Volume 4. Let's get this all started. It's a phoenix.
Hello.
It's a not deer.
Where?
Alright. RWBY Volume 4 takes place at least roughly a year after the events of RWBY Volume 3. I want to say it's assumed a year as well, mostly because between the end of Volume 3 and the start of Volume 4, Rooster Teeth took a whole year off of doing RWBY in between then. And so I'm going to assume they did that just for the sake of consistency, and kept that lined up as well between the time skip. So presumably it's at least a year since Volume 3, or the events of the Fall Beacon.
Right.
We are, interestingly enough, basically having 4 stories being told at separate intervals, with sprinkles of character arcs from side characters here and there, such as what we experienced with Ren and Nora. So we have RWBY picking up where we left off with RWBY leaving or running away from home with the last of Team Juniper, heading to Haven Academy, if I recall correctly, for the sake of just continuing on their huntsman training to become official huntsmen and huntresses. Miles and Carrie in the behind the scenes for Volume 3 even said that future volumes going forward was going to be to explore the rest of the world of Remnant. And they did. They're showing off the world of Remnant in more ways than one. Such as with Weiss being Atlas, showing off the aristocratic lifestyle that she grew up in, and quite a lonely lifestyle too, where we get reintroduced to her and she's walking through her mansion of a house, and it's like so fucking empty and so quiet. It's actually quite sad. Like, if you grew up like that, I'm scared to see anyone who would meet anyone who have like grown up sane living in that kind of environment. And that's why Whitley is kind of a little shit, because he grew up with that and grew up more like his father. I'll say that. But again, a little ahead of myself there, because we get introduced to a bunch of new characters, and the train is here.
The zombie train.
Jambi Express.
Random thought. You ever see the movie Super 8? Like this, like that scene where the train crashes. You should have that train crash be a redeem whenever the train comes. You can redeem a train crash.
Jesus Christ, yes. What else? We also get reintroduced to both Blake and Yang as well. Blake running away back home after the events of the Full Beacon as well. And Yang dealing with both depression, PTSD, and unfortunately, a lot of her mental care a lot of it was off screen, which we'll talk about that and my personal opinions on that when we get to her part of the story overall, because this is gonna get me back into that fucking rant about the first attempt of the DC RWBY comic back in like 2017, I think it was, because like I said, it was supposed to be like the gap filler of what happened within that 1 year time skip, and they fucked it up. Like, I don't even know how you could. I'm sorry, I'm about to go on a spiel about it again. I don't know how you can like fuck it up so hard. You're given a football or a ball of some sort. You're told what to do when running with the ball. You even have the writers who worked with the original creator of the show guide you in this process of writing this comic and like, okay, here's the story, here's the world of RWBY, here's how the powers work, this is the characters, and this is where we left off in volume 3. Now run with that. They ran with it, but like, it's like, you know that scene in Family Guy where Peter has that horse that's fucked up in the head?
Yes.
And then it goes into that race with all those other quote-unquote regular horses. And then and Meg like points out, like, even runs like it's messed up in the head. And it's just like that weird like scramble, and not even a run or a jog. It's like a scramble to like, what the fuck am I doing? And it can barely go in a straight line until like literally crashes into the crowd. That is how I see the development and release of the first attempt of the RWBY comics. That's literally how it looked to me, and it's just I don't like it. There needs to be a case study for like this kind of stuff where like you're given explicit resources and of what you're writing about, and then you somehow fuck it up by retconning the events of the ending of Volume 3 with Ruby running away from home, Ruby's own fucking power, and then inconsistency between with like the cover art and what's inside the book pages. Because like, and on top of that, literally the first 2 issues of RWBY was literally the same cover art. I'm not paraphrasing that. If you look it up, it is literally the exact same shit. And then I originally thought that like, okay, maybe they're just maybe saving a little bit of budget here, and you know, and it's expensive because the alternate art covers that they have in the works right now are being done by a very popular indie artist. So I'm like, okay, that's gonna be expensive. Maybe save some budget with the cover art by like, you know, just reusing the same badass looking RWBY cover, right? From like the issue 1. No, they don't, because after issue 2, they go to individual looking covers for like the rest of the I think it was like a 10-issue miniseries. Alternate art for every single fucking one of them, except for the first 2. So, who fucked up there? Who fucked up with the first 2 issues? Or at least the second issue?
Good question.
I can only assume that like whoever, like you said, like they had someone who basically told them what's going on, like lore wise. I can only assume that maybe that was either like a fib, and the person who was doing that just didn't really give a shit.
I can see...
Just basically like here's like a synopsis of the last season. Do whatever you want. I don't like care. Give me my money.
I mean, somebody fucked up. That's for sure. And that's kind of like... And that's going into next year. That's going into around the events of Volume 5 in 2017, because around this time, Warner Brothers acquires Rooster Teeth around this time. And so because of that, they want to like make a promotional merchandise for collectors or comic readers to get into RWBY, because they wanted to like you know, Superman fans, Batman fans, Wonder Woman fans, DC comic fans in general, and introduce them into the series of RWBY, which I think failed spectacularly, mostly because, like I said before, the first attempt of the RWBY comic kind of failed and fell on its face, to the point where not so much Rooster Teeth, but Warner Brothers were trying to figure out what the fuck to do to justify their purchase of Rooster Teeth. Because they even did things like RWBY crosses over with Justice League, or rather Justice League crosses over into
Remnant.
RWBY, and then in a sequel series they do like the reverse of that, kinda, where it's like RWBY in the world of the DC Comics universe.
Mhm.
And then
Like I think I mentioned it before. I think a RWBY Teen Titans Go crosser would have been hilarious.
I think it would have been hilarious. I think that, but it was so like, and that's also another missed opportunity. Like, why go with the Justice League when you had the Teen Titans right there, or Young Justice? I think this was back when Young Justice was still very popular too.
Mhm.
So you had two opportunities of other fellow teenage superheroes pairing up with RWBY, and then it's like, nah, let's just like.
But here's the thing, Jimmy. Batman sells.
I mean, you're not wrong, but still.
It's freaking DC and Warner Brothers. You look at like a lot of their like direct-to-video movies, they always have Batman on the cover, even if it's a superhero that doesn't involve Batman. There's like, if we're gonna have a DC crossover with RWBY, slap a Batman on it.
See, so
Because
when I read
that's the only character they care about.
So when I read the original crossover, the first crossover with RWBY, what they did was they pretty much made like an Elseworld story of what would happen if the Justice League were in the world of RWBY, or from the get-go, were like born inside the world of RWBY.
I mean, that's a cool concept.
Which it was, and I liked a lot of the ideas they had with it. Like, for example, Bruce Wayne was a bat faunus.
Interesting.
And
he actually has the ears.
I think he had the ears. Like, I think he legitimately had the. No, it was either the ears or he had bat wings. It was one of the two.
That's gonna be like make it really hard to keep a secret identity.
I think he has the.
Whereas,
So like Angel in X-Men Last Stand,
yeah.
where he has it basically tucked under like a trench coat and shit like that. Basically, I think that was how he hid his animal characteristics. And then
You just pretended it was like a cape or a trench coat.
something like that. It was something along those lines. And then it was actually interesting because they kind of like made a little ship between Bruce Wayne and Weiss, actually, because they're both rich aristocratic lifestyles, and then they get mashed together, kinda. And so
it's kind of a missed opportunity. They didn't do it with Blake because she's kind of brooding, and literally she's a Catwoman.
Milo vibes. Hello, welcome in. We are currently talking about RWBY Volume 4 because we just got off of watching that. Right now, we're kind of like ranting about like a lot of the future spin-offs and other marketing and merchandising that I personally think was mishandled, such as like the RWBY comics by Warner Brothers / DC. So a funny thing too is that the Flash was a faunus too. Do you want to know what kind of faunus he was? And it's actually kind of cute that what they did with that.
Leopard.
A Roadrunner.
Roadrunner.
No, it was actually ironic. They made him a turtle.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Excuse me, what?
Yeah,
Well,
doesn't
Flash have a pet turtle anyway?
Yes, I think that you're right too. So yeah, that's like kind of interesting. But yeah, he legitimately has a tortoise shell on his back.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was
Like,
a little ironic too. I like that.
I get the joke, but like a turtle shell doesn't really scream Flash like visually. Like, is it like at least a red shell? Like,
Yes. It's
Or blue
it's
shell.
red.
I was gonna say red shell or blue shell.
It's a red shell. It's a red shell.
Okay.
okay, but it's just like that sounds like it would look so fucking awkward.
You know what? Now that I mentioned, I kind of want to send you like when we get into like volume 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to send you guys like the actual like screenshots of like all their character designs and all that. Also, weird thing, like I mentioned, like how initially Bruce Wayne and Weiss Schnee were actually in a relationship to one another, or were like hinted at getting into a relationship with one another.
So I'm assuming the Justice League are like aged down in this
They're
universe.
aged down. Yes, I should probably have
Okay.
cleared that first. And this is why
No, that's what I would assume.
this is why I also mentioned that it should have been Teen Titans or Young Justice, because like you're aging down the entire Justice League to fit the premise of RWBY. So why not just gone with like your literal teenage fucking superheroes? I
Why
don't
did
know.
I get the feeling,
It
why
had
did
to
I
be.
feeling that Raven and Blake would get along just swimmingly?
I feel like it was just like popularity because like you don't really see that much with Teen Titans, but like Batman and Superman, like that's like their big thing. Like, oh, people know Justice League, but like Teen Titans is like,
See,
would people buy a Teen Titans versus RWBY?
it's not
Like-
it's not versus. It's like
Yeah, you know what I mean, though.
I probably would. Like if you told me like which generation of Teen Titans? I think the one with Damian Wayne would probably fit well, especially since his team of Teen Titans has Raven as well, and like Phoenix said, like I would kill for a shirt of Blake and Raven getting along while everyone else is bantering like idiots.
Then again, if you do Teen Titans, and that implies there's still a Batman, so I guess they could still use Batman.
Exactly, they could still do that, and like it would make sense too. Like, oh, you're the Damien is the son of like the world famous huntsman that goes by the Man of Bat or something like that, and it's just like,
yeah. Honestly, it probably would have worked better if it was like Young Justice or something. So that way, it's like sidekicks. Like it would, and then you could have like the Justice League be like older, like mentors or whatever.
Exactly. I mean, like, it's already fit, and that's why I said Young Justice also works well, because that's initially what they were. Especially in the cartoon that was popular around this time, Young Justice was literally just a bunch of young sidekicks wanting to branch off into their own people, and Justice League was like, well, okay, here's our old superhero headquarters. We'll be we'll be here when if you ever like need like a helping hand to help train you or like keep you up to date or shit like that, or if we ever need you or anything. So here's your push out the nest. You know, there you go. Here's your opportunity to be your own people. And that's and that still fits in line with a lot of the themes with RWBY as well. So it again, missed opportunity. And I get what you said with, you know, it's like, oh, it's Batman, Superman, it's more marketable. But like at the same time, this was when Young Justice was so fucking popular.
Yeah, I know, but like Cartoon Network screwed over Young Justice. Like they purposely made it flop because girls liked it, and they're like, we don't want to sell girl toys.
But it's
So
too
they
damn
canceled
bad. You can't
They
be
canceled it. They literally canceled it because Miss Martian was popular.
Oh my god.
They're like, this is supposed to be a boys' show. We're supposed to make money selling toys to boys. Girls like it, not boys. What do we do?
In My Little Pony, the little girl show, yet we have grown-ass men who watched it.
Exactly.
You can't be picky with your audience.
Like, I guess maybe the logic was just like, we already made merch for boys. I don't think girls are gonna buy the merch, and we can't afford to make more merch.
You have women who have the ability to dress up in cosplay as male characters. You misjudged your audience.
Yeah, but it's okay. We got DC superhero girls. Yes.
Jesus H. fucking Murphy.
The second version of that's actually good, though. I like the one made by the My Little Pony creator.
Yeah, because the person who did the My Little Pony probably knew what they were doing. The issue is that, like you said, the second attempt. It should not have been more than once. That's the issue. That's how you piss away money.
And it took a creator who already has a successful show to do it.
Who's like, she was passionate about the idea from the beginning. If there's like early, like they made shorts for basically a version of DC superhero girls, and you could, right, which was basically like a prototype of the one she made later, but like they just didn't greenlight it, and they did Teen Titans Go instead.
Oh Christ!
Because it also got shorts around that time, and they're like, well, people already know Teen Titans. We'll just reboot Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Which I never understood why they rebooted a series as Teen Titans, where it was already perfect, and they live on a fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so
All they had to do with Teen Titans was just move that cliffhanger episode like before the 2-part finale. And then no one would have complained, because I don't think it was supposed to be interpreted as a cliffhanger.
And so, speaking, anyways, back to the topic of RWBY real quick, especially with crossing over with DC Comics. Uh, it, so that, like I said, they had the first attempt at DC Comics publishing a story about RWBY was a failed attempt. It truly was. I think it even got canceled. Like, I think it was supposed to be like 10 out of 10, not like 10 out of 10 like stars, but like 10 out of 10 like issues. Like, it's supposed to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 issues within this miniseries. I think they cut it off at 9.
Damn.
I fairly remember that they cut it off at 9 because it was doing that poorly in sales.
Did they like finish 10 and just didn't release it?
I think what happened was that they released the final couple issues on digital media.
Okay. They Legend of Korra it.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Which is kind of saddening on top of that, because in later years they would do a couple more crossovers with DC. The second attempt with DC Comics is like, you know, the RWBY's crossing over with Justice League, or I should say Justice League crossing over with RWBY. And then the story that they did after that was the reverse. Was like, what if RWBY was in the world of Justice League? And then I don't know if we should do the movies, but I think we're gonna have to, because just to get a point. It's because because I want to do Ice Queendom as well, so we might as well do the crossover animated DC Justice League RWBY movies.
I'll do Ice Queendom. I draw the line of doing the crossovers because honestly, unless it's canon, I don't give two shits.
Well, technically, Ice Queendom isn't canon either. It is like a interpretation of I think it was also based off of Shiro Miwa's RWBY manga as well.
Well, it's a canon with the RWBY universe. Legitimately, crossover isn't.
That's the ironic thing, Phoenix. How big are you in comics? Just asking. Out of curiosity.
Not as big as a friend of mine who collects them. I'm a casual comic/manga reader.
Dakota, you want to tell him that everything in DC Comics is canon, or should I?
I would scream bloody murder, but it's currently 2 a.m. I don't want to wake up. I got 3 people in the house.
So that's
and we left Dakota.
Dakota died. But yes, Phoenix, it's actually sadly true. Back in I want to say it's 2015, 2016-ish, DC Comics actually made an announcement that pretty much every work of story that they did for any DC-related comic was made canon, mostly because they wanted to shove it all within their DC comic multiverse. So, like, you have a multiverse where everyone is, like, the reverse.
Sorry, my internet went out for a second. I don't know why.
Oh, you're good, you're good.
No worries.
My headphones are glitching. What'd you say?
So I was just explaining to Phoenix that everything in DC Comics is actually canon, unfortunately, to a nth degree, I should say. Because DC Comics back in 2016 made an official statement saying that everything that they, like, published up to that point, going forward, is canon.
To RWBY or just DC Universe in general?
Anything DC. So if it's got
like
Superman,
multiverse?
yes, because of that. I
don't know how I feel about that, because like they've done so many adaptations of Crisis of Infinite Earths where they destroy like the same universes over and over again.
Yeah.
So they're just like multiples of the same universe.
Yep.
Or are they just like revived each time?
Either revived or they're like offshoots.
How do you revive you if it's deleted from existence? How does it? I don't get how that plot line. How do you revive a universe that was destroyed? It's gone. No, they don't exist anymore.
In the words of Todd Howard, it just works. but so like that, what I just said now was an actual public statement by DC Comics back in 2016. Couple years ago, there was another Crisis on Infinite Earth level of comic book event called Dark Knight's Heavy Metal, where you like the Batman Who Laughs was the main antagonist. He becomes Gods of God multiverse level threat, and
That's dumb.
it gets worse because like
I don't know anything about the Batman Who Laughs, but his design is just kind of a little overdone, to my opinion.
yeah, but so what happens is that he gets killed by Wonder Woman, I think. Yeah, but he gets his brain transplanted into a vegetableized Dr. Manhattan Bruce Wayne, and he quite literally becomes he becomes a little god of the multiverse level bullshit.
Dr. Joe Cadden.
Basically, he basically becomes what was the name he went with? It was like shit, what was it called? He called himself something like, and it kind of sounds badass but kind of goofy at the same time.
Was it like a joke pun kind of thing, like Joker?
I think so. I can't remember what it was. Fuck.
Probably not like Punchline or anything, because that's his new girlfriend.
No, and I hate how like when they establish this new god form for the Batman Who Laughs, he goes on a killing spree to prove a point of how powerful he is. Because he kills a multiverse level entity, like the birth mother of the multiverse, and he goes to kill, for some fucking reason, Superboy Prime, which, if you haven't read the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline, the events that cause all that storyline is because of Superboy Prime breaking a barrier, a dimensional barrier that literally causes a reset in the multiverse and causes a collapse because of it.
Damn.
Yeah. Fuck, what was what was it called? And he is such a powerful badass that like he actually like bitch slaps Beast Boy into like 3 era of design backwards. So like imagine his current era. Now imagine getting slapped so hard that you get reset back to your original design.
That's honestly pretty cool. I would like to see that. That would be kind of cool animated or in live action.
Oh yeah.
That's honestly kind of a cool concept, being slapped into different costumes.
Yeah, slapped into a different continuity. Yeah, and it, like it literally like it's almost impossible to fucking keep him down either. Like the first time it took 3 different flashes to trap him inside the Speed Force, and then he escaped from that. And then it took a Green Lantern empowered Mon-El, who is he's not Kryptonian, but his species are like cousins to the Kryptonian, except instead of being weak to kryptonite, their kind are weak to lead. Ironically. So like imagine Superman with like little to no weakness now. Now imagine that with a Green Lantern ring. Now imagine that with the very god concept of the power of will that powers every single Green Lantern ring in the universe. Now imagine that throwing hands with Superboy Prime, being a stalemate, and still losing. Now imagine Batman Who Laughs, god-empowered asshole, just like going around making a statement like, "Oh, I'm a whole new character concept. I'm just gonna kill all the like most powerful characters in DC continuities just for the funsies." Like he literally throws hands.
Does God Joker at least kill people in like prankstery kind of ways, or is he just like murdering people?
No, kind of, not really. He's like, imagine if like, what would be a good example? Imagine if 2 gods basically just went at it with one another. Like imagine that basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I mean, like the Joker murdering people? Is he at least doing like a Looney Tunes kind of way, or is he just like murdering people because I murder people?
No,
That's not really a joke Joker.
no, not really. He's just going around killing deities and people who are like
I mean, that's kind of
powerful.
stupid. You give basically a clown godlike powers, and he's not gonna do Looney Tunes shit. That's dumb.
You know, it's funny you mention that because there's Emperor Joker, but that's like a concept, an idea.
Is that the one with Mr. Mixoplex?
Yes, yes, it is.
Right. I also remember hearing there was a crossover with the mask, where the Joker got the mask, and it was like very bad.
Oh God, I'm scared of what would happen to read that. But yeah, that's basically you get the idea.
Yeah.
So after the events of Heavy Metal, where Wonder Woman is given a god-slaying chainsaw sword, I am not fucking making that up.
Hell yeah! I think I saw that in Multiverses.
Yep. She is in an empty void because basically with Batman who left being tampering with the multiverse so much, it literally resets the entire multiverse into a blank canvas. But she gets greeted by the 1940s Wonder Woman. Design and everything, saying...
Comic or movie or show?
The comic.
Okay.
The show, I think, was in the 70s, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, so the OG, the original first printing Wonder Woman from the actual original comics came to the current, semi-current now Wonder Woman saying, hey, just letting you know, everything that you're about to do is going to make everything that has ever been done, will be, or has ever been, become one history now. So but basically, I gotta find the actual like screenshot of like how she describes it. But basically, it's just a reiteration of what DC publicly made a statement of back in 2016. So it quite literally took fucking like there's like an 8-year gap saying the official people saying, hey, all this is canon now, to literally in story saying, hey, everything's canon now. And it's really hard to argue against that because you have both like the legal brand of DC saying so, and now you have the literal in canon word of, not say much the word of God, but like the approved okay what to write by the writers of DC Comics have to say. And so RWBY technically is canon within the multiverse of DC, along with the movies and everything.
It's wild.
It is, and it's it hurts my head just trying to comprehend that because I have
Even Batman Ninja.
Yes, actually. If it's got DC Comics on the logo, or if it was a DC related brand, it is canon.
So Scooby-Doo's canon?
Yes, actually, it's funny you mentioned that too, because there is that offshoot like horror comic Scooby-Doo where like Fred actually dies, and then like the actual mystery machine is like not a tank, but it's like the A-Team's van, where it's like a, I guess you could call it a tank in short terms. But yeah, in the end, then like Fred like dies and everything. It's like like I said, it's like an attempt at like a more mature Scooby-Doo that isn't the fucking Velma show.
You're here first, chat. Scooby-Doo is canon to RWBY.
Actually, it's funny that you say that too, Dakota, because there happened the Hanna-Barbera character crossovers.
With RWBY?
No. With like Batman, Martian Man, like.
Oh yeah. I know they cross over the comics, but there's also like animated episodes where they cross over. I was like talking like the cartoons. But yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Doesn't the Looney Tunes beat Batman sometimes?
Not always.
Wasn't there like something with like a Looney Tunes character teaming up with Lobo? I think it was like Wile E. Coyote or something.
I believe that. But yeah, basically, RWBY is canon within the confines of DC. However, I'm not sure how much of that is probable anymore, because of Rooster Teeth being sold off to Viz Media. Or not Rooster Teeth, but RWBY getting sold off to Viz Media.
Yeah.
Then,
It says canon as the Ninja Turtles.
Which honestly has so many canon events that it's hard to keep track of them half the time.
Yeah, you know that snow globe theory you told me about, Dakota? Like, I'm just imagining
Yeah.
like how like crazy somebody has to be to try to put this all together with DC making everything that they've published canon.
Mhm.
All right, random rant over finally after God how knows how long, 20 minutes I think. That's not too bad last time compared to last time. But, yeah. So, basically, the events of RWBY Volume 4 is that we are reunited with, Ruby and the rest of... Well, not yet. I want to say that's the next volume, where they actually reunite. But right now, we are in the starting process of Team RWBY reuniting, once again, to fight the Creatures of Grimm and Salem and her cabal. We have... Ruby with the rest of the team Juniper traveling to Haven Academy to continue their studies and get their huntsman licenses. We got Blake running away to Menagerie to want to... Oh, excuse me. Excuse me again. They want to... She wants to... Fight, not so well. Yes, she wants to fight back, but she's hesitant about it. But she wants to pretty much reform the White Fang again from being their more aggressive successors to back to how they were previously, going from basically peaceful protests to physical assault and attacks and riots and shit. And then Weiss and Atlas showing off the bureaucratic, aristocratic lifestyles that everybody lives in, mostly because of honestly what Weiss's grandfather did for the Kingdom of Mantle by basically discovering a huge depository of dust and innovating creation and inventions to be as futuristic as they can be in comparison to the rest of the Four Kingdoms. Then we have Yang, like I said before, dealing with her PTSD. I don't like how most of it was done off-screen within that time skip as well, which I think we missed out on a good storytelling opportunity. And yeah, I just don't think Rooster Teeth knew how to approach that properly outside of, like, you know, the flashes of images and the nightmares of like Adam Taurus cutting her arm off again, or outright killing her this time.
She loved punching things, and he took the one thing she loved.
Well, kind of, mostly, yes. Until she had a new arm be delivered from to her as a gift from Ironwood, for her bravery of the Fall of Beacon at the Fall of Beacon. And what else? And we get introduced to some new characters, back, and we get introduced to Ren and Nora's backstory, and which I is really hilarious what their childhood village was named after, which I really don't think Rooster Teeth actually knew what they were. They probably should have looked up what that meant before going with that name, because it's literally. I guess I'll try to make a comparison to that later, because I was just gonna ramble on.
Is it bad I laughed when Ren's mom died?
Yes.
Like, she's just like, "Don't worry, Ren, everything will be okay," and then just immediately the roof exploded. I went like, "Ha!"
Yes, and I don't.
I think it's because it's like you know, like, oh, this is the tragic backstory, but it just like happened so quickly. It was just kind of like, ha.
That doesn't make it humorous. You're an asshole for laughing.
Like, it was a sad backstory. It just happened so suddenly, and it was just kind of like predictable. It's just like, okay, she's probably gonna die, and then just right now, okay.
And it doesn't help that I commented, and everything was not okay.
I'm sorry. I literally went Also, what did they reveal Ren's semblance? I didn't understand why he just randomly stopped crying and then changed colors.
Okay, so we'll talk about that when we get to
Right.
that part of the story, because it is another thing I have to talk about with the animation change going from the first 3 seasons to going forward with Volume 4 to 9.
It kind of reminded me of that meme where it's like the baby crying, and then like the rich mom's like, queens don't cry, and then they just stop with like a serious like woman face, like the baby.
So,
Queens don't cry.
all right. So before we get to that, real quick,
Okay, sorry.
what's everyone's opinions on the? Let's get the elephant in the room out of the way first. What do you guys think of the animation change going from the first 3 seasons to now?
Pretty good. Like, a lot more backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It's an improvement to make it.
Yeah.
You got better shading, you got better lighting, you got smoother animation, better facial expressions.
Oh, definitely the facial expressions.
I think it's an improvement.
Yeah. Like, it's neat seeing it slowly looking more and more like a show, rather than kind of like a indie thing.
Yeah.
Like, it still looks like it's on a budget, but like, it's neat seeing like their like animators progress in their style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then we are introduced to Salem and her cabal. What do you think of Salem so far, Dakota?
I don't know. She's just kind of here. Just like, oh, this is evil lady. She's in charge. We're like, I don't know who evil lady is, but okay.
You Salem.
Yeah, I know, but like we've basically seen we got a lot of like Cinder and her gang. So like, all right, these bad guys are, and then you're just like, this is Salem. She was in charge the whole time. I was like, okay, I don't know who she is, but I'm sure like I'll learn. So like right now, it's just like, okay, she's just bad guy. I don't know anything about her.
She's one of those characters where like it's very subtle with her, where when we do get into her backstory, in volume 6, I believe, you'll understand why she is the way she is. And you're probably gonna actually sympathize with her, like 90% of the people who watch the show have done, because of like what the fuck factors that contributed her into becoming what she is now. We don't get to see much of her cabal do much except for Tyrion. So I'll start with Tyrion first. What was your guys' opinions on Crazy Scorpion guy?
He sure was a crazy scorpion guy.
I thought he was interesting at first. Then I saw how absolutely just mentally weak he is and how he needs validation for everything. Like, if you're a psychopath, be a psychopath. Don't ask for validation from a witch who clearly doesn't give two shits about you.
Yeah, it's like I'm sure like all the other minions are probably like leaders of like things or whatever, but there's like, who's this crazy guy? Is this some guy you found in like a hospital, and you're like, yo, do you like killing things? Yes, I like killing things. Go kill things for me. Okay, yes, thank you. I love killing things.
I like how you go with that metaphor or analogy, Dakota, because Tyrion is based on the Scorpion and the Frog fairy tale, where
Never heard of it.
What?
I don't know a scorpion frog fairy tale.
Neither do I.
Okay, well, I don't know if it's like a fairy tale, but it's like a story. It's like
Is there a Disney movie?
No, god damn it.
No,
it's an old, very old story where it's about a scorpion wanting to cross a pond, but he can't swim, and if the scorpion tries swimming, he will drown. So a nice frog offers to carry the scorpion on his back for free, so long as the scorpion doesn't sting him. Otherwise, they would both die. And the scorpion is like, you know what? You're right, G. We both die if I did that. And so the scorpion gets on the frog's back. The frog is swimming across the pond, and the scorpion stings the frog anyways. And before they both drown to their death, the frog asks, "Why did you do that? You killed us both." And the scorpion says, "It's in my nature."
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's kind of stupid.
Yep,
That's a really short story.
it really is.
It's like, okay, the moral is don't be an ass. That's kind of a no duh.
Like
Well-
the moral of the story is don't trust like a guy with a knife you don't know.
That too.
The moral of the story is that, like, you can't really change what you are, basically. Even if you're in, like, the face of, like, a life or death situation. There's just some things that, like, cannot be prevented. And so, yeah. And so, that's why I guess you can say he's the crazy person that just likes killing things, because, like, it's in his nature.
Mm-hmm. But, like, who is he? Does he, like, run a crime organization, or is he just some guy?
He's just another minion.
He's a minion?
He's just some guy?
Well,
She just keeps him around because he's funny or some shit?
he's a well-versed killer that, like, you saw
Okay.
went toe-to-toe with Crow, like you saw in the show.
Okay, so she's just, like, her like, assassin she hires.
Not
The
so
way I
much
see it-
hires, but
Works with.
happily serves her without well, he wants praise, but, like, that's about
Yeah.
it.
He is a praise king.
The way I see it, he's basically the Bellatrix of RWBY. He loves killing. He wants validation from the head antagonist,
Mhm.
and when he fails, he feels as though he's like done the worst thing in the world.
You know, that's actually a very good comparison. That's actually a really good one.
The only difference is that I actually enjoy Bellatrix's insanity, while Tyrion's actually gets on my nerves.
Is that, like, someone from Harry Potter?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
it's the crazy bitch.
Been a while since I watched those movies.
Yeah.
Let me get a picture of her so you know what I'm talking
No,
about.
I know what you're talking about.
And then, so like you said, Dakota, like, oh, he's just a random guy. No, he's just the personal assassin of Salem. So, like, let's go down the lines, and I guess I can say this right away. So you remember the mustachio guy that was basically mocking, or not being condescending to Cinder?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mustachio guy is the guy that was hacking all of the Atlas technology and robots and everything that you saw in the events of Volume 3.
Interesting.
He is.
I don't remember.
You remember the Rook?
Yeah, I remember what happened, and I think we were talking about this. I don't remember anyone mentioning, like, a hacker.
I mentioned a hacker, and you thought it was Neo.
Yeah.
No, not Neo. I thought it was Cinder, because like in the last season, Cinder broke into the tower with a mask and like downloaded shit. So I assume she just downloaded this thing she needs to like basically hack the systems of everything.
Well, what Phoenix and I said is like it was just basically for Cinder to create a backdoor, or Phoenix.
For the other guy.
Yeah, for the other guy. Yes.
So she hacked it so like the actual hacker can like mess around with it.
Yes.
She basically implanted a bug in the system for the hacker to infiltrate their files and such.
Yes.
I just don't remember them mentioning a hacker, and she was basically already doing hacker
She
stuff on her own.
doesn't mention him by like name, but she says our little friend. That's
I assume she was talking about Penny, and the plan was to hack Penny and make her kill things.
You know, honestly, they probably should have gone that route, but like that would have been too dark even for Rooster Teeth standards. But
it's really weird. Like their plan was to like basically have hallucinations for Para, when it's like it's literally a robot. Hack the robot. Why do you need to do illusions? I guess it's to make them both look bad.
Yeah, that's basically the
One's a
whole point.
robot. You can't trust that kingdom. The other kingdom's champion killed the robot. Probably didn't know it was a robot. So like both kingdoms are shit.
Yeah, basically
Or, like, I don't know.
that was basically to make both Vale and
Look
Atlas
bad.
look bad, cause a panic, and then attract all the Grim like we saw happen afterwards.
So said Pyrrha's probably gonna be remembered by the world as the girl who killed a student.
You know what's actually fucked up? That is probably correct. Unless,
Well,
unless maybe,
She
and
was so nice.
So-
Both of them were so nice,
You
and
know,
then they're just like,
and see, this is
their
where I have,
legacy.
and this is where I have fucking issues with the fucking DC, the first attempt at a DC Comics RWBY comic, because they could have filled in on all of that, but they fucking didn't. Fuck me, I guess. But yeah, that's the fact that
Do we
you
ever,
mentioned.
Do we ever get like a scene with like John Arc overhearing people like shit talking Pyrrha, and then it's like, no, that's not true. That was all lies.
Okay, so
no.
so yeah,
No.
yeah. So okay, so
Just no one remembers Pyrrha.
so the fact that you mentioned that, Dakota, that's where I have to tell you, let you know, where that's kind of where Ruby's writing is gonna start going downhill, because
Do they just forget stuff?
they either forget stuff or some significant plot points, like what you said earlier about Pyrrha being a student killer, and everyone's gonna start trash talking
Same with
her.
like Yang, because Yang, people think she shot a student.
Exactly, and like, nope, that's
No one brings it up.
I will tell
No one
you,
remembers.
I will tell you this right now. I'll bet my left testicle, even going into volumes 7, 8, and 9, that will never be brought up again.
I don't know. It's kind of missed opportunity. Yang defending her honor, like they just it's like hey, that's not what happened.
Welcome to post Monty Ohm Rooster Teeth. I will tell you that now.
I guess like a lot of shit happened that event, where it's just kind of maybe that just got brushed over. People just don't really care or remember, because like, oh, an entire kingdom was taken over, and it's it's kind of like, oh, a student got angry and shot a kid's leg.
I mean, that would make sense, yeah, but then you also have to take into consideration that what caused the takeover and the fall of Beacon was the death of Penny.
Yeah. But like Penny was a robot, so people probably didn't have that much sympathy, which is kind of tragic.
Don't let the fucking Ruby fans hear you say that.
No, I mean, like, out of context, an entire world sees a girl get murdered, but oh wait, it's actually a robot. They're probably like, oh, it's just a robot. Why do we care? Like, we care. The main characters care. They know Penny had a soul, but the entire world doesn't know the context of Penny. They think Penny was probably a cheater, like someone like entered in a robot.
So I think to try to might justify a sense of fear with, and especially even at the death of a robot, was Cinder even tried causing paranoia with that, with like, oh, we have a robot infiltrating as a student. Ooh, who's to say that your friends are robots too? Basically that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And they never explore that either. They never like have people second guessing if like your next door neighbor is going to be an undercover secret sleeper agent robot thingy that could go off at any second.
Yeah.
They never do. Like they have like so many cool elements and opportunities to expand on stories from like that alone, but they never utilize it, or they never bring it up again.
That event was televised to all the kingdoms, right?
Yes, it was.
So like everyone knows Yang and Pyrrha and Penny.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess maybe like the terrorist attack and the Grim invasion was basically overshadowed everything.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. And on top of that, got Mr. Mustachio guy, aka Watts, by the way, who is named and based off. How in the RWBY, fuck, what do we call these books again? The data book.
Volume?
The data book.
No.
The RWBY data book I've been bringing up throughout the other podcasts is Watts in that book is described as being Dr. Watson from the Sherlock Holmes series, but with what would happen if he never had his Sherlock Holmes. So he just becomes
he'd just be a doctor.
Well, he'd end up being an evil asshole, basically, is what the...
Not really. Watson's just a doctor, and then he just met Holmes and became his sidekick. Watson would just be some guy.
Yeah, I guess, but that's basically how the writers...
Like, why would Watson be... Like, that's kind of like a jump the shark. Why would Watson turn evil if he never met Sherlock?
I don't know. That's basically just what they said. I'm just quoting.
I could see him become maybe like an asshole. Like he doesn't have like a friend, like like we like bounce off of. So he just becomes like a cold asshole. But evil, that's kind of a jump of shark. He was just like some random war doctor, wasn't he?
Welcome to the random writing of RWBY.
Yeah.
Where nothing makes sense.
What if Watson was evil? At that point, if you're gonna do evil Sherlock, why not just make him Moriarty?
I think that was what they said. It was like, what if he was paired up with Moriarty instead of Sherlock? I think that was it.
And then at that point, why not just make evil Sherlock and evil Watson? Why just evil Watson? It's kind of lame.
That's actually a good question, and again, I think that's also another missed opportunity. So you're gonna hear that a lot going forward with the rest of these volumes. Just letting you know.
Like Watson's just kind of a strange pick for like a villain. I don't really get the idea. He's not even like in a fairy tale with magic. What does evil Watson do in like the RWBY verse? Is he just a human with no semblance?
He's basically what if I remember correctly, he's a former Atlas scientist, basically. And that's basically why he's able to hack into the Atlas cross-continental transit communication towers, basically.
Why not make him like a scientist who like does like biological warfare or something? So that way like fits with the character. Like maybe he makes a disease, like a grim disease or something. Like why hacking? Where do you get hacking from? Freaking Dr. Watson.
It's funny you mention that because that's actually the purpose of a different scientist in the RWBY Grim Eclipse video game that's set in between volumes 2 and 3, where like there is a literal scientist experimenting on Grim and causing them to have like some kind of like Grim disease that makes them glow green, and it does does a bunch of shit. But yeah, it does exist somebody like that already, just in like, video game form.
Where do you get hacking from Watson? He's like
I don't remember.
Doctor and a detective.
We'll get to his backstory. I think his backstory gets like revealed in like volumes 7 or 8 or something like that.
Like, why should I care about his backstory? Is the character interesting?
I mean, a little bit. He's a bit of a charismatic. Really.
Okay.
Then
he just kind of seemed like an ass.
Oh, I mean, he is. Then we have then we have the big guy Hazel, the tank of the group. What do you think of his character so far?
Like we didn't really get to see these henchmen other than like the psycho scorpion, and they're all just kind of like mustache asshole and big guy. He doesn't say much, so I don't really know anything about the big guy.
I'll say this much: he does start to become a character I like.
Yeah, like I'm sure they will. Time,
but at now he's more to the character that I'm neutral on, because we know that he's loyal to Salem to the point where he remains calm no matter what she says. Someone who will usually try to keep the peace, even if it means breaking a few skulls. And yeah,
ironically,
try to keep the peace with like a group of psychos.
Oh, so actually, ironically, that he is like the nice guy of the group. Ironically, like you even kind of see him being like a nice guy towards Oscar, when his money got stuck in the ATM, basically.
Did they show how Ozpin went into Oscar, or did you just kind of he just randomly saw him in a mirror? Because it
just happened. It will be explained.
I know it'll be explained how it happened. I'm just saying, in the season we watched, he looked in the mirror and he's like, "Hello."
It just happened, basically. Yeah. He was just having a nice summer day, and then suddenly, "Hi, I'm Professor Ozpin."
Summer, you say?
God damn it.
But, like, was it like the machine they built, or is it going to be revealed that Ozpin was like the mysterious male maiden?
No, it will be revealed with the same backstory of Salem, because I will tell you now, Salem and Ozpin are intertwined, and it's actually quite hinted all the way back in RWBY Volume 1. where the opening narration starts off with the original narrator, who turns out to be Salem, and you
Also, question, like, Osbit implied that it was random, right?
what?
That
he possessed Oscar.
Yes.
Kinda. It
Because
happened.
I think I kind of calling bullshit because conveniently you basically share the body with someone who's also named Oz. I feel like you picked him deliberately to like prevent like name confusion. So like, people will still call me Oz. Cool.
Not so much that. Like I said, it'll get explained in
Kind of
in his
kind of weird
backstory.
coincidence. Kind of a weird
It
coincidence.
is a weird coincidence, I will tell you that, especially when you do find out Osmond's true name. But yeah. But like I was saying back all the way in Volume 1, where the narrator, who turns out to be Salem, was giving like the opening narration. If you pay attention, there's also the banter. She's not just giving a narration; she's bantering with Ozpin. So yeah, like I will tell you now, Ozpin is going to be revealed more go in future volumes.
Right.
And so we got through Tyrion, Watts, Hazel. Oh, might as well just jump to Oscar since we're talking about him already. What do you think about his little adorable character so far?
He seems alright. I think I looked away for a second when like he first was introduced. So that's why I was asking, did it just happen randomly? Within the context of the season, like I know it'll probably be revealed why it happened, but like he's just like in his room and then all of a sudden it's like, hello, I'm Ozpin.
He was working on the farm, but that's kind of how it happened, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought happened. He seems alright. I bet he'll be kind of interesting.
So it's actually interesting why they actually introduced Oscar, of all people, was because they wanted like a similar. So like Ruby in volumes 1, 2, and 3 was a kind of a fish out of water character because she was pushed from being a junior high student into high school, basically. So she was a fish out of water. But because of her now being more acquainted with all the characters we know now and more experience into her huntress career, the writers wanted to reintroduce a new fish out of water, more or less, with Oscar.
Like she's a lungfish on land now.
Yes, basically. Then see. We get more properly introduced to a little more introduced in to both Yang's parents, Raven and Tai Yang. So who you want to like talk about first, or want to discuss more first? The deadbeat mom or the happy-go-lucky single father?
I don't know, which one do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I'm asking you this.
Well, the mom just kind of seems like a deadbeat. Does she like secretly care, or does she just not give a shit?
Yes.
Okay.
It's really hard to explain because it literally, I will tell you, by next season they will like they kind of already explained a little bit why she abandoned Yang and Tai Yang, and with leading her tribe.
Is it like How to Train Your Dragons 2 logic, where it's like, yeah, I'm sorry I abandoned you as a baby, but like dragons are cool. I want to like hang out with them.
Not so
But,
much.
like, I still love you.
So,
but like dragons are pretty cool. You know, you agree? You have a dragon too.
So,
the family.
So, basically, Raven abandoned her family for the sake of leading her tribe of bandits that are her adoptive family originally, for both her and her brother, because like they were raised and grown up with this bandit tribe. I can't remember what they were called. fuck off bot.
So is this mom like Yang's mom, right?
This is
Not
Yang's. This
Ruby's.
is Yang's mom, not Ruby's.
Is she like the sister of Crow?
Yes, the twin sister actually.
Why do they both kind of look like Ruby and not like Yang?
Oh, trust me, there's a lot to unpack there with that statement because of several reasons, possible reasons.
Were their moms sisters or something?
No, no, no. Oh, I mean, Jesus Christ, Ty has such game then.
I mean, it's like easy in, and it was like, oh, we're both grieving the loss of a family member. If only we had someone to like relate and console with.
It makes it even more awkward that Summer is also from the same team Ty and Raven were, and then also ended up second wife of Tai Yang.
I could see if that was the case. I could see why their team broke up. That's gotta be really awkward. Like,
oh, you have no idea what like how like so many fan theories there are, and then like how like there's this fan theory of like Crow being the actual father of Ruby, and then like that was debunked like so long ago, but people are still lingering onto it because it's the only thing that makes sense in this situation. But especially with how much of her
is Crow not related to Ruby really biologically at all?
no, surprisingly, even though she she looks like her mother, but she like has like the epiphany or like not the epiphany, the personality of
Crow.
I feel like Crow should have been related to Ruby's mom. Then I guess you could just argue Yang's mom. She gets her yellow hair from her dad, and just like, oh, her mom just doesn't look like her.
Yeah, well, that's why originally Raven was the at the end of volume 2, Raven was just a color palette swap of Yang. Basically, that's basically how she was back then.
Yeah.
And she kind of still resembles that now, but she has like her own model now, where you can kind of see where like Yang gets her looks from, basically.
Yeah.
But actually, now that you mention that, Dakota, have you actually paid close attention to? Why can I not click on this fucking bot? Have you
Kill the bot, murder him?
Oh, there it is. Bam.
Beat him up like he's in the movie Real Steel.
But have you paid attention to that childhood picture of Crow with Team Stark and everything? Because Tai Yang has a copy, Crow had a copy. Basically, so far as I know, everyone in Team Stark has a copy. At least the ones that are still alive. So have you like paid attention to that? Because if I find the Crow,
Were they slightly different?
if you see Yang's mom and then you see Ruby's mom, you're like, oh, I see who the parents are. Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of zoomed out, and they just kind of glance at the photos for a second, so I don't really like pay attention. Like I see, I know they keep showing the photo, but like I don't really get a chance to like really look at it. Like, let me analyze.
Yeah, I just sent in chat or sent in the group chat. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that looks like Ruby's mom. She's got. Like, I don't not like the silver eyes. They just have the same similar looking eyes.
Oh, those are silver eyes. Those are silver.
Well, not this like eye shape, not necessarily the color, but like the color is factor.
Her entire face shape is practically copy pasted for Ruby.
And that's why it's really hard to say who like that's why fans who were like fan theorying all about all this were guessing like is she really Tai Yang's daughter? Because like she's got a lot of that personality from seemingly to Crow. And then like so many people was like, oh, that's because Crow helped train Ruby at Signal Academy with her fighting style and everything. Like, okay, but why does she have the fucking cape like him too? Like it's not like the Doctor
like
or
cape?
Crow, because Crow has a cape as well.
Oh, okay.
Did you not notice this cape this entire time?
Crow has a cape.
My god.
I mean, it's a very subtle cape. I think I know. Like, who are you saying also has a cape? Like Ruby's mom?
Ruby.
Ruby has a hood. It's like a different kind of cape.
I guess. Well, Ruby's cape is
They're
doubles as a hood as well.
they like distinctly look kind of different enough. Like I don't like he kind of just looks like it's part of his shirt. I guess it's kind of like a cape, but it's very subtle. While Ruby's is more of like a robe or a hood. They look kind of different.
Yeah, similar to her mom, which we'll never get into because we never really fucking got into it.
Dang.
Yeah.
All we know about Ruby's mom is she dead.
Yes.
Oh, we get more information.
It's really hard to explain because
Spoilers.
not the end credit scene of Volume 8 has a face reveal of Summer Rose.
Hmm.
But I never watched Volume 9, so I don't know if they expanded on that or not. So
You don't know.
yeah.
So that's gonna be an interesting episode of the podcast where even you're going in blind.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited and fearful of that. But like, yeah, we do get a full blown face reveal. Like, it's not really a spoiler, so I can show you that right now. Like, that's literally at the end credit scene of Volume 8.
Mm.
And that's it. I don't think we explore that any further. Even though that's kind of something everyone would kind of like want to know of what the fuck happened to Ruby's mom. Because even throughout volumes 1 through 3, they were like, oh yeah, Ruby's mom kind of like went MIA on this mission, never came back. I'm like, so there's a chance she's alive, right?
Wait, she's alive? What?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah, they never confirmed or denied that she is full on dead. And then they had that face reveal at the end of Volume 8 where
God, she's only mostly dead.
where people assume that she is somewhere else,
Mhm.
still alive, or like trapped in like some kind of something, and they never expanded on that. Not that I know of.
Just like think it's like, oh, she's not dead. She's just somewhere else outside of our world. So dead.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything.
All right. Was there afterlife in Ruby? Like,
I want to say
I think you mentioned something kind of like that, but I don't know.
it's really hard to explain because I never got to Volume 9. But it gets fucky when you get to Volume 9. I will say that.
Wibbly wobbly.
I want to say like time travel.
You know,
Fuckery. It's fuckery. It's like because like the entire Volume 9 has the theme of like, I don't know if I want to even spoil that because it gets trippy. It gets trippy, dude. I will tell you that. Alright, so we're introduced to Mama Bird. We're introduced to Crow a little bit more, and we get a reveal of why he likes to travel alone and at a distance. Because his semblance is passive, meaning that it's always active. It does not require like a blink to activate or click something to activate. It is always on, and because of this, he causes bad luck to happen around him as he goes. And the thing about this is that this was actually hinted at all the way back in Volume 3. Back when he was at the bar, where he gets his drink, pays for his drinks, and leaves. And the guy picks up the money, but accidentally knocks over one of the glasses that he drank from. So that's kind of where it was hinted at with his bad luck, misfortune aura. And then again with Winter about to try and kill Crow, but then you see Crow like put away his weapon and just like goad her on to try to take his throat, but like she gets stopped mid-strike by Ironwood and then made a fool of because of that. And you kind of see more of that in action when it comes to his fighting style, where like they were fighting on top of that like rickety rooftop, and Tyrion falls through one of the broken beams, basically. But unfortunately, you also see why he keeps at this, and then this is where a lot of the fan theories start to happen too. because when Ruby comes in to help him out, you see that one of those support beams from that same building break off and about to fall on her head until he saves her from that. So
Mhm.
this is where a lot of the fan theories start from, where, again, people theorizing that Crow is the father, at least, and he and Summer were out on a mission together, and because of something about him, something he did to accidentally cause Summer to lose her life.
So like if Crow was secretly the father, doesn't that make Yang and like Ruby cousins?
Yes, actually. And that's why I don't know where this tweet is, but a long time ago when Monty was still alive in the process of Volume 2, I believe, someone said he made a fucking tweet saying that he was going to make a surprise for, Yang and Ruby's relationship to one another, which didn't make any sense because literally from the start of Ruby, they were already confirmed to be sisters, at least biologically speaking, but with last names. So,
Mhm.
ring a ding ding, if you're biological sisters with two last names, you are half siblings. Okay, we got that
Mhm.
out of the way. So, Tai Yang likes a double dip. Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh,
Honestly, it kind of seems in character for her being Crow's daughter because like Crow's kind of like like the whole bad luck trauma, and also he's kind of like a loner drunk. So he's just like, like I care about her. I don't want to be a dad, but like I care about her. You know what I mean? You'd be a better dad.
Exactly, and on top of that, like, even if he did want to be like this is we're going to fan theory territory. Even if he did want to be a good dad, like, he couldn't, because he would
Hmm.
just constantly be putting her in danger.
Hmm.
However, like, imagine like, I don't know, it's a winter morning, you're going outside with your daughter to have fresh air, and then one of those icicles on your porch fall off and almost
Yeah.
clips your child's head. Like, imagine that for 18 years of your life, basically.
Hmm.
And so,
Like the combination of the fear of the bad luck and also like his kind of, I don't want to say he's not like a party guy, but like kind of like loader, kind of like I go out and do whatever I want. I don't want to be tied down to a kid, and I probably wouldn't be a good dad. You take care of him.
and that's
I'll
why,
just be the cool uncle.
so like,
That sounds more fun.
I had, going back to the picture of Team Stark. If you, uh, we have to actually find the actual clip or scene of it again. But if you pay attention to Crow's copy of their picture, his
Mhm.
copy has tear stains on it and a coffee stain on it as well, or not like a coffee stain, but like coffee mug stain. Like, he set his coffee mug on top of the picture in the middle of his crying, basically.
So Ruby's mom is just like the rando in the group, kind of.
Ruby's mom is,
Well, that she did. Like, it's like there was a point where it was basically this Crow and Yang's mom, the siblings, and then like her boyfriend, and then Ruby's mom was just kind of just there, the friend, and then later dates the other guy, dates the dad, dates the
so
dad.
Crow and Raven are siblings. They were basically, as I don't really think it got revealed that much, or if they did, they like pass over it real quickly in I think Volume 5. But the whole original purpose of Crow and Raven going to Beacon Academy as kids was so they could train and be better warriors for their bandit tribe, basically.
Mm.
And then Osmond pretty much got them into his cabal, more or less, because he found them very exceptional students.
You know, it's funny when like the mom, at the bar where he like goes to meet the mom. I was gonna jokingly like say like another bird name like Raven or like Pigeon, and then he's just like, "Hello, Raven." I'm like, oh, I was right. Predictable. Predictable. Like not in a bad way. Just like, oh, she's probably gonna be named after like a different bird.
Yeah, the name conventions for both Crow and Raven tie into what I said before with Osmond being more going from Wizard of Oz into Odin, and you kind of get that a little bit more with
Nora, his daughter.
no, She is not.
No.
Oh,
That,
no relation.
that
Okay.
would be a mindfuck though, considering that she is an abandoned orphan. So that would be
Yeah,
a
technically,
mindfuck. But yeah, you even get
My estranged dad is in the body of some random teenager. This is a lot to process, Red.
oh, you have no fucking idea. But anyways,
What is this Steven Universe bullshit?
oh, you have no idea. So and you can and like going back to the themes of Odin again, you even have Salem even make reference to this where one of his last eye is now blind now. That's what she said. When Tyrion told her that he poisoned Crow.
Interesting.
And what else? What else? I'm blanking right now. Fuck, that's not good. Fucking dogs. God damn, I'm blanking right now.
All right, so we talked about like Ruby, Mom, and Yang Mom backstory. These should probably switch to like Weiss and then Blake, maybe.
Weiss and Blake, yeah. So we get introduced to into how Weiss's bureaucratic aristocratic life was before the coming to Beacon, and how very lonely she is, and this is why it's really beneficial to pay attention to the songs of RWBY, because the songs of RWBY itself by Jeff and Casey Williams themselves tell a story as well. On top of that, they're like banger songs, but they tell a story.
They are. Yeah.
So, like, for example, the original White trailer has the song Mirror Mirror, which is quite literally based off, Mirror Mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all. Except with, the RWBY spin on that is like, Mirror Mirror on the wall, who's the loneliest of all? And then comes to, and in that trailer, comes to the realization that Weiss is the loneliest of them all. And then when we get introduced to what her life inside her, I'm borderline to say it's a fucking castle with how I'm assuming how big it is. Let's call it a mansion for the sake of debate, right? So and you see her explore this giant fucking mansion, how big it is and how empty it is and how lifeless it is. Like, you imagine being on that kind of walking through that monochrome house for so long and it's just empty. I mean, that kind of shit will get to you eventually. And so she leaves home again. We get introduced to Jacques, reintroduced to Ironwood, and then we get introduced to Whitley and Klein. So, what do you think of Jacques Schnee so far?
Piece of shit dad.
Okay, that's accurate. That's accurate.
Yep.
Yeah, he sucks. Mr. P&G.
Mr. P&G, old age Lorax.
Mr. P and Shmee. P and Shmee.
So, I forgot the name of the voice actor, but I kind of mentioned, hinted at who he's best known voicing for, with being Beerus from Dragon Ball Super, because that's the same English voice actor from that series as well.
Nice.
Yeah, which I was kind of surprised about, but it was really cool that he'd come in for like that kind of like, not so much a minor role, but like not as like participation wise compared to like Beerus, for example. And then how do you feel about Ironwood's aftershave or lack thereof?
But he shaved?
No, I was like,
what do you mean?
Like his 5 o'clock shadow is what I'm trying to say. What do you think of it?
Oh, I didn't really notice. It just looked the same. Does he just like have a shadow now?
Yeah, he's like he's showing signs of like
overworking and like,
overworking.
being tired.
Yeah, getting tired. Like he's seen shit.
Hmm.
It's actually interesting that you say he looks the same too, considering like if you make a side by side comparison of his models, one of the major complaints I've heard about his new redesign for volumes.
So he looks boxier.
He looks boxier. His arms look a bit shorter, and he's more built
Okay.
in terms of like muscle tone. But like,
Yeah, I did notice he looked a little like square, like
yeah.
boxier. Yeah.
And that was something fans were noticeably disappointed with Ironwood's redesign in volumes 4 going forward. I think, but I think he gets better in 7, 8, 9, I believe, possibly. Judy, what are you doing? Get out there. Get. She's messing with my fucking cords. I'm scared she's gonna unplug something. She already turned my computer off on accident once.
Why is the button at cat distance?
I don't know. She's like rubbed up against it, and then she somehow hit the one button to turn it off. Anyways, then we get introduced to Whitley Schnee. What do you think of Whitley?
That's the brother.
Yes, that's the brother. And that's his name is Whitley.
Yeah, kind of annoying.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this guy. Yeah, he's not supposed to be likable. I can tell.
How do you feel about Klein, the butler?
Is the butler? Does he just do impressions, or does he have like different personalities?
He's basically the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, he's the 7 dwarves in one, basically.
Yeah.
Kind of a cute concept.
Yeah.
The original
Is
idea.
it like multiple personality disorder, or is he just like do voices?
I think it is DID, but I think it's supposed to like tie into whatever his semblance is supposed to be, which don't ask because it's never revealed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part is because like we get introduced to some of these characters, but I will tell you now that like some of these characters will probably never get like mentioned or see it ever again.
He's kind of like Weiss's sword, where he's like a revolver. He can just, but instead of like magic, he just personalities.
Basically,
His eyes even change color like her sword.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that, and I wonder if that does affect with like if he uses dust. Judy, get out there.
Maybe he made her sword. I don't know.
That could be it. That could be a possibility. That would be kind of cute if he was the inspiration for it. Then with Weiss's story, she's running away from home again, and we're gonna have like an interesting conflict on how kind of funny everyone kind of reunites with one another again, especially at least with Weiss and Yang. I will tell you that. Now we go into Blake and get reintroduced to Sun. And I mentioned this before in last stream, where like we're never gonna see the Neptune or Team Sun again, and like here it is, and where's the other guys? Like they're not here, and like oh no, this is what I was mentioning.
Dang, no more Generator X.
Basically, unfortunately, at least not until the spin-off book.
Why is the fish guy who's afraid of water need a spin-off book?
It's not so much him, but it's like
his team.
It's his team. That's what I mean.
Okay.
We get.
I don't even remember the other two members of their team.
Scarlet and Sage.
I don't remember them.
Yeah.
Like, I know there was 2 other people, but they must have just been so forgettable that I don't have a mental image of what they look like.
One of them
But
gets like.
I remember they were there.
Yeah, they don't really stay very long, and so that's why I say that's why I said back in our last stream that like all those cool characters that we get introduced, we're never gonna see them again, which is just unfortunate. Well, we do see Flint and Neon Cat.
Steel?
What?
Flint and Steel.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Chicken jockey.
God damn it. So and we're Blake. She gets rid of her bow because she's not hiding anymore because she's going to the island nation of Faunus called Menagerie. And you better not get for my cords again, cat. I swear to God. And brain thinking. And it's a nice. And the thing about Volume 4 is that outside of what's happening with Ruby and her and Team Ranger, is nothing is really happening. To an extent, like nothing is really being significantly played out. That's why a lot of people find RWBY Volume 4 safe, because it's kind of a nothing burger, but at the same time, it sets up with a lot of stuff going forward, kinda.
It kind of feels like basically a season 4 part 1.
Yes,
And it has like a mid-season break.
Yeah, so to me, how that is I feel like it kind of reminds me of how Star Wars: The Force Awakens, the ending where Rey finds Luke, and end credits there, even though that kind of should have been like where the story should have been picking up there, and then it continues into the next movie from that same spot. That's how I think it's gonna be for Volume 5 at least. We get introduced to Best Cat Girl, Kali, her mother, and we also get introduced to her father, Gira, which I can't remember Kali's inspiration namesake from, because I think it was from like Sanskrit or something like that for Kali, but Gira is based off of Bagheera from the Jungle Book.
Who's the mom's based off of?
Kali is based off like in Middle Eastern Sanskrit or something like that, or I can't remember the exact okay, to Google Kali Belladonna, save search on.
Are we gonna meet Baloo?
No, it's funny that you say that. I kind of wish we did, because that'll
like
be
his dopey friend, like Baloo.
It'd be really cool if they did something like that, but yeah, we never get to that. Unfortunately,
They could have been the mom Baloo and had her be like a party mom.
You know, it's funny you say that, but yeah. Well, then it wouldn't make any sense then, because Gira is a panther faunus, and Kali. Yeah, because we watched the World of Remnant RWBY video, and like two different faunuses ending up with like a random species of faunus is actually an interesting concept. Like a goat and a wolf faunus get together, but like their kid is gonna end up like a possible reptile faunus. That's interesting. Oh, okay. Kali's name might be a reference to the Hindu goddess Kali, who destroys evil to protect the innocent. She is also seen as the divine mother and the mother of the universe. She could also have an allusion to Raksha, the kind mother wolf who adopted the man cub Mowgli for Kipling's Jungle Book. Yeah, so yeah, there's your other Jungle Book character.
But like you mentioned, Blake is like the beast, right?
So it's really hard to say because they try to make allusions or to multiple namesakes at the same time, such as
like Belle, Blake.
Yeah, Blake being.
Doesn't make sense. It's like she's a cross between the Beast and Belle, and that's why she like reads a lot.
Yeah, but is Adam Taurus is supposed to be the Beast basically to Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, I guess that makes more sense since like the main characters are like not necessarily princess characters, but like female leads in fairy tales.
Yeah. Oh, and Kali's name in Sanskrit is the blackened one. So that will explain why she has a black and gold color scheme as well, which fits in with Blake's color scheme as well. I'll also find out that Blake is also a. I don't want to say she's a rich girl, but she's
Mm-hmm.
closest thing to it on Menagerie.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't help that her parents are the leaders of the Faunist, and on top of that, the former leaders of the White Fang as well, back when they were more peaceful protesters.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? We get introduced to some scheming foxes. Was it Fennec and Kovac Albarn? I think their names were the twin foxes.
Mm-hmm.
They are secretly working for Adam, trying to mislead Menagerie from not rebelling against the actions of the White Fang. Because the only benefactors they can get to recruit for the White Fang are mostly Faunus, and so if the entire island nation of Faunus denounce the one Faunus civil rights group that exists, then yeah, that's gonna like take away all your supporters.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Ilya, who is a chameleon Faunus. Did that take you by surprise, Dakota?
It didn't really take me by surprise. It was kind of interesting. It's kind of more. Is it like a semblance, or is it just it's separate?
I believe it is her semblance because it'll get
Does she
revealed.
have Does she have any other animal traits?
No, well, her traits are those circular blemishes across her skin, but like you can, but it's
It's not really like a faunus thing. It's just freckles.
it.
It's like, oh, look at my baby faunus, ma'am. She just has freckles. That's not a faunus.
So it's explained, and even Sun points it out, like she doesn't even look like a faunus, and then she like erupts into a vibrant color similar to like what we originally thought chameleons could. Well, actually, no. Chameleons, when they change color, is in reaction to their mood, not to the environment that they are in. But they're like blending that together with her being like, making her her skin black so she can like blend into the night to sneak on people.
I feel like they should have maybe gave her maybe like some forehead scales or like a tail or something.
Yeah, those like.
And then like her color changing is her semblance. Like, oh, she's like a lizard girl who has the power to change color. But like,
Her.
if her entire like thing to be a faunus changing colors, then that's not. Then how? That's too similar to like a semblance power.
Yeah, you're going to see that a lot where semblances are not. Like, I said this even before in our last stream, where semblances going forward after RWBY Volume 3 start to become more mundane or something that would not really be considered a semblance. Like you said, like she's a chameleon, so she can already change her color because she's a chameleon. Because like that's biologically what she should be able to do, but no, that's also her semblance. So like her semblance is her genetics, but that
Like,
doesn't
give her some fucked up eyes or a tail or something.
something, but like no, they don't, unfortunately.
Maybe like a nose spike, like a lizard. Some lizards have nose spikes.
That'd be interesting.
No.
But like no, they don't do that. You actually do see like other like significant like faunus characteristics. Like you do see mer people in Menagerie in Volume 5.
Because it just seems like every faunus detail is usually like one animal part. Changing colors is not an animal part.
Yeah.
That's a semblance. I don't know.
Yeah, it like the semblances like I said going forward are just gonna be like more mundane and more.
Also, I'm kind of noticing a lot of character semblances just making clones of themselves.
That does seem like a common
like
thing.
they're like they have their differences, but it's basically just different flavors of the same thing.
In a way,
Uh,
yeah, it's kind of similar to like how X-Men. There's like so many like similar powers, but like there's like different unique usages for those similar powers.
Yeah, I guess. Like you can have like I guess it's basically like how you have Human Torch. He can be basically become turn into fire. And then you have someone like Pyro. He can't turn into fire, but like he can control fire, like if he has like a match.
Yeah, basically. Like if you give him
It's like the
access to
same
fire.
power but a different flavor.
Yeah.
But it's just like Blake can make a copy of herself. It looks like Sun can make copies of themselves. uh Neapolitan kind of made copies of themselves. The green-haired girl, she does illusions, but in a way makes copies of herself. Like Weiss can like make creatures appear. I bet she could probably make a fucking copy of herself.
No, actually she can't. There's actually a thing that was kind of stated back in Volume 3 with her conversation with Winter that her summons are based off of things that she defeated herself.
Okay, so she just gotta catch them all.
Basically.
That's one way to put it.
And so
Can
that's...
she make Torch Chick?
No.
She can't make humans.
No, she cannot make Torchic.
But like any humans, like she defeats a human. Can she make a human?
No.
She made a knight.
That...
Well,
Did
that's
she
the thing.
fight a
It's not
knight?
a human, it's just a suit of armor.
Yeah, but when did she fight a knight?
The white trailer.
So you're telling me if I wear a fursuit and I fight Weiss, she can make a furry?
She could make a copy of that fursuit, yes, theoretically.
Or she could just make clothes.
Yes.
So, no, okay, so...
And basically animate them.
So the knight that she defeated all the way back in the white trailer, that you do see her summon in Volume 4, and I was actually this is probably going to be a good segue into the new Grimm we get introduced here. So we get introduced to the Geist, which is basically a poltergeist Grimm that likes to possess inanimate objects and basically turn into a giant golem with them, depending on what's surrounding him, within the vicinity of him. So it was actually revealed later on that the knight that Weiss defeated was actually the original introduction to a Geist Grimm, because that was actually a possessed suit of armor that Weiss was fighting against and defeated.
What was the context of her fighting it? Because I didn't really understand the context of the music video.
There was actually no real context created for it, as far as I remember.
Okay, so it was just like made to be visually cool, but it's just canon, and we just don't know the context.
Yeah, basically. Oh well,
Okay.
I mean, a Geist Grimm took possession
we have lore reason of why she was fighting a night, why a night monster was attacking her. It's like a Geist, but like there's no real like
not the initial
narrative, no narrative importance. It's just kind of like we animated this because it looks cool, but it's canon.
Basically,
there's no context,
yes.
but it's canon.
Basically, yeah. And then it took them like 3 years to actually create an explanation of why that fight scene took place.
Like they honestly didn't really need to, because like it's a short. Like they didn't really need to like have a lore reason for like a music video or like why is she fighting a knight.
Oh, you're gonna say that a lot going forward. Just let you know, you're gonna say a lot of that stuff. They didn't have to do that.
Remember this random music video from years ago? Here's some like lore information about it. It's not important to the narrative of the show, but it's just kind of cool, right?
Basically, yeah.
Like honestly, I forgot about the music video. But cool, I guess.
Yep. And then so yeah, we got introduced to the Geist Grimm. We in the trailer leading into watching Volume 4, where we get introduced to new stylization of animation. We get introduced to a Barangle, aka the ghost of Harambe, as I call it.
He's back.
I just call it Shadow Dog and Kong because he does the down B.
I call it Harambe because it's got the broken eye where it like looks like it got shot.
Jesus.
Oh no.
Like and if I remember correctly, it was 2016, wasn't it, where Harambe got was shot and killed, wasn't it? So and it came and this volume came out in 2016 as well. So like you cannot tell me that's not coincidence that they went with the gorilla themed Grim with that one missing eye.
Harambe lives on in another world.
And then we also get introduced to
It would be wild if the new Donkey Kong has an NPC named Harambe. Harambe Kong.
And then after the Wrangle, well, it was like the Wrangle, the Geist, we get introduced to the final boss of the season, I guess you can call it, the Knuckleave. The
Knuckles?
The Knuckleave, the knuckle dragging horseman Grim thing. And if I remember correctly, that was more or less based on the Headless Horseman to an extent.
Interesting. Guess that makes sense. The Headless Horseman's not really a character, he's more like the monster of a story.
Yeah.
Are we gonna be Frankenstein?
I'm actually trying to remember, but I don't think so.
You know, be a cool character in RWBY is like the painting guy who's like painting ages, but he doesn't. Was it Dorian Gray or something? I don't know how they could get him to work in the show, but he probably would be cool.
Possibly. Could be a thing in later seasons if they ever get the rights back. Yeah, and then so yeah, the Knuckleave is based on the Knuckleave, a demon from Orcadian mythology with origins from both Norse and Scottish mythology. Knuckleave was commonly blamed for disease and destructions of crops. That makes sense, actually. So then after that, I guess we can talk about the character development and backstory of Lyren and Nora Valkyrie, who of which Lyren is, like I mentioned before, is now being voiced by Monty's older brother Neith Ohm now. Why would you make that a word to ban, Dakota? You monster.
Good luck.
That's rude.
They can't say Ruby now.
Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes. Fucking A. But yeah, we get introduced to the backstory of Lyran and Nora Valkyrie, where in the village, and I'm still can't believe they named it this. So, do you know what Kuroi or Kuro means in Japanese?
I don't think so, no.
It means black. You want to know what Yuri is in Japanese?
Isn't that like lesbian romance?
Yes. So it literally means black lesbian romance.
I'm gonna stop you right there because no, it does not.
Okay, cool.
What does it
It
mean?
translates to Black Lily.
Oh, thank God then, because
Put your mind out of the gutter, Jampy.
My dude, Yuri has multiple meanings in Japanese.
Why would they have multiple? Oh, whatever. I'm gonna...
Literally, the word for four and death are pronounced the same way.
Why?
First, you're like simping over Blake's
How the
mom.
fuck
Now
do I
this.
know?
Get
It's
your mind out of the
Japanese.
gutter.
I don't know what they think of when they come up with their language.
Why? Anyways, so yeah, so that's why. Thank God that you clarified that, Phoenix, because goddamn that.
Awkward.
I want to say it's
Literally, you mentioned. Literally, when you said that, like, okay, I'm gonna look this up. Kuro Yuri translation. Word meaning Black Lily. So it's not black lesbian romance, it's black Lily. Not nearly as loose as you think it is.
Well, that's better. Well, that's good because, well, here's the thing though, is that there's a series called Medaka Box. I don't know if you've heard of this, but there's a character. The main character's name is Medaka Kurokami, and it actually means Black God because one of her transformations is okay. So there's actually, and I hate this because there's different translations for this because she has what's called Aries mode, and then Saturn mode, and then I think there's I can't remember what this form of translation goes into for her final form, but that's basically where she basically has God of War transformations, if that makes sense, right? But there are other translations literally label it as Black God mode or Alter God mode, basically. And so it kind of lines up with her last name being Kurokami, which is Black and God. Or is supposed to be like a allegory of her being possibly a dark deity, basically. Which, if you watch, I guess watch would be probably a better sake going forward because she does some crazy shit in like literally the first episode, where you think that is not a normal high school student. And Jesus Christ, this is one of those series that are like, where it's like the student council government is higher than the actual country military government. But yeah, that's where I was trying to piece that together for like that. But even then, so, and that's just where I'm gonna be going into like how RWBY changes and gets altered a little bit differently with how their production is, because there's no way the Rooster Teeth I knew that got, oh, here comes train again, fucking A, would sign off on a god damn, I'm a small fucking town, train. That one honk was more than enough. Anyways. Yeah, there's no way that the RWBY that I knew that felt under would have signed off on a potential misinterpretation like that, or that could have been a misinterpretation. Like they just wouldn't. Now the RWBY from back then in 2016, yeah, okay, that makes sense, because they're unlike me, they're actually smart and look up possible. Well, actually, now I kind of am curious now because it's a Japanese name, like you said, right, Phoenix?
Yes.
Oh. Alexa, stop. So
no.
So it wouldn't make any sense why that would be Ren's birth village then, since he's based on Chinese, Mulan.
It might have been one of the few times where Monty was not consulted for a town name.
I mean, that's fair considering that he's been dead for 2 years at this point.
It's kind of weird, like Mulan and like Joan of Arc. They're kind of gender swapped, but they're not really. Their basically the whole theme of their like story is basically them cross-dressing, but that has nothing to do with the RWBY interpretations.
Basically, that's kind of the running joke, was like, what if they were the actual genders that they were impersonating?
Well, I guess to be fair, John did wear a dress at prom, so okay, he's accurate. But like, when is Ren gonna wear a dress? I don't care what gender you are. Put on the main outfit.
Jesus. Okay.
The JFK meme.
Yeah.
So we talked about So we explored a little bit more with what's outside of Beacon Academy, especially from the Kingdom of Vale. We are in Mistral territory, and honestly, the World of Remnant videos did a good job trying to explain, or what was it? Not elaborate. Elevate the coming story to give some context of the world that we're about to be exploring further with RWBY, because we're literally everywhere with RWBY, with Weiss and Atlas, Yang's still in patch with in Kingdom of Vale, and then we still got Blake and Menagerie, which is just down south. I think it's I can't remember if it's like an independent nation or if it's a part of Vacuole. I think it's independent. Yeah, I think it's independent. But yeah. Oh, okay. So we're getting introduced to what I mentioned before of why the four maidens are important. It won't be revealed why they're important outside of like, you know, they're like good heroines and whatnot. But we get introduced to the concept of the god of light and darkness, or reintroduced to it, I should say. And then we're introduced to the four artifacts. The physical manifestations of knowledge, creation, destruction, and choice. And
Infinity Stones.
yes, and they will be revealed of why they're important in Volume 6. Yeah, Volume 6. And this is where I also believe it starts to fall off for me as well when it came to RWBY's storytelling, because let me just say, like, when we get to it, you're gonna realize that it's an uphill battle for everyone. And then at the same
time, for the characters going on the journey.
Yeah, it's just good, like, overall, like, the whole
I'm assuming it's kind of like a Lord of the Rings scenario where just shit just keeps going wrong.
I guess you could. Thing. In a way, everything is going wrong, but at the same time, like, when you find out what the purpose of the artifacts are for, and then what, how dangerous Salem is, you just fall. You begin to lose hope. Let me just say that. Like, everyone literally just starts giving up. And let's see. And they do bring up the god of light and darkness, and I will let you know that by Volume 6, you're gonna hate them a lot. You're gonna think they're probably the most dumbest deities ever. I will tell you that. Especially, so, Phoenix, have you ever played Final Fantasy 15?
I have, actually, yes.
So you can relate of how fucking lazy and stupid the gods of that series are, or at least in Final Fantasy 15 are, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So you already can agree with me, that's basically what we're gonna be experiencing together in coming Volume 6, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
So Dakota, to give you some clarification, that in Final Fantasy 15, there, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, there is a character named Arden. He is an oracle, prophet, messiah-ish character who heals anyone plagued with demon blight, basically. Okay? But
it's demon blight.
it's just, you get scratched by a demon, you start getting infected, and you might like be corrupted and turn evil, or just outright die.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
he heals people. He takes
That
that.
happens in Ruby.
No. I'm talking about Final Fantasy 15 right now.
Oh.
So I'm trying to give you an idea of why I say the gods in Ruby are jackasses, basically.
Hmm.
So, this Arden fellow, like, he is a healer, basically. He's an oracle. He's a healer. He's like the nicest guy everyone loves. He is how he heals people is he takes the infection from others, at least from what I remember, and draws it into himself to purify. Basically, he's like a filter or a sponge, basically, when it comes to like evil energies, basically. Okay.
Hmm.
So, out of nowhere, and so he's also a prince as well, and so is his brother. Out of fucking nowhere, his brother like pulls a heel turn, 180 out of fucking nowhere. Starts, he kills Arden's girlfriend. He beats the shit out of Arden and has him sealed away inside a tomb for what was it, like 1,000 years or something like that. And it's revealed why his life turned to shit like that was because their gods deemed him the focal point to ignite this cultivation of passed down energy that gets put into the actual main character of the series, that is like evolves from like his ancestors back in Arden's time to, let's say, modern day. Okay. And so that growing power is going to be used for the eradication of like what was it again? Like just evil in general, or like the demons shit, right? Phoenix? Because it's been like a hot minute since I played Final Fantasy 15.
It's been a hot minute since I played as well. I only remember like the first few hours because I played it recently, but only for curiosity reasons and see if any of the mods I had installed work anymore, which they don't, unfortunately, because it hasn't been updated in years.
Yeah. So,
but yeah.
Yeah, so Arden breaks out. He is told of the world around him that has evolved from that 1,000-year slumber he was put in. He's virtually immortal, by the way, but that's not really too important. And he goes to his old kingdom, stirs shit up, so he can finally get answers of why he was betrayed by his brother and usurped, basically. He beats the shit out of the current king at the time, which is the main character's father, by the way. And before he lands the killing blow and pretty much like cancels the game before it releases, his brother, in the form of a knighted angel, appears to and saves his descendant, and explains to Arden that he regrets what he did all those years ago. And he literally says, hey, the gods told me to do this. Like, I know I can never ask for your forgiveness, but I just ask for your understanding. And Arden's like, my understanding? You little bitch. What the fuck you need my understanding for? You literally ruined my life. You killed my girlfriend. You put me in a fucking rock for 1,000 years. What part of understanding should I give you? And so then he gets pulled into the realm of the gods. And Bahamut, the head god of this pantheon, is like, hey, dude, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to be our martyr for us. So the main character later on can like wipe evil out after this building growing power that we've been cultivating for over 1,000 years, wipes out all the demons and shit. And Arden's like, why couldn't you do that? You have the power to do that right now. Why did I have to fucking suffer for your laziness? And Bahamut's like, well, okay, one, fuck you, and two, you have no fucking choice. It's preordained. I can't do it, and there's nothing I can do, bro. Like, you can fucking do something. Anyways, and so the Bahamut summons the ghost of his dead girlfriend to pretty much convert him into two options, which actually changes the impression you have of him being the main antagonist. Because, by the way, Arden is the main antagonist of Final Fantasy 15. Spoiler alert. And the two options are Arden falls in line and willingly becomes the martyr to be the spark that lights the fire of the growing cultivated power to wipe out all evil and demons and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Or he decides to stick to his guns and decides to rebel against the gods and fight against destiny.
Mm-hmm.
So it changes your impression about him, because he's either doing this shit because he's following a prophecy, or he's doing it to actually spite the gods because he was wronged, horribly wronged, because he was like literally everyone's favorite person until suddenly the gods say, "Nah, let's just backstab him," quite literally.
Mm-hmm.
So and because of this, it's just lazy gods doing overly dramatic situations that could have been solved with a fucking flick of their wrist or a snap of their fingers that they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same.
Gore the God Butcher was born.
Oh, basically. and that's actually what Arden is. He tries to become the fucking equivalent to Gore the God Butcher. And now think of Salem as that same way, by the way, just out of coincidence. And this is why a lot of people hate the God of Light and Darkness as well, because they're both stupid and they're fucking lazy. And how they and all she wanted was just one big ask, and she was willing to devote her entire livelihood or make the sacrifices needed to complete that one wish of hers. It would go against the forces of nature. All she wanted to do was have that one wish fulfilled and just call it Gucci. They refused her of that. They wronged her in a lot of fucking ways. And guess what happens later on after a long amount of time? Let's just say for fuck's sake, like 10,000 years. They grant her that fucking wish. After 10,000 years, and after her already stewing in her evil loneliness for so long after being wronged for that long longevity a period.
They bring him back.
They grant her that wish. I'm not gonna say what that wish is, but the thing is that if they gave her that wish to begin with, the
reason probably is like, if we grant something like that, other people will be asking for like wishes or whatever. Also, we gave you free will. If your choices cause the consequences of like him, he died, then it's kind of like on you humans. That we never promised to grant wishes. We just gave you free will and go do whatever the fuck you want.
But that's the thing, though, is that like all she did was ask for one thing. They told her no. They told her, and they decided to do it anyways, because she was becoming a growing problem for humanity, being, the leader of the Grimm and shit like that. And it's like, well, we kind of fucked up here. Maybe we should get something or someone to keep her in line. And then guess what? They brought back, they made the wish come true, but in the worst way possible. And it's kind of like too little too late.
Yeah. They got sick of her Karenness, where it's just like, you owe me him to be alive again. No, we don't. Bring him back. I'm gonna keep Karen until you give him back. And they're like, all right, fine, just give him back.
Yeah, the issue is that most, if not all, of the conflict and plot of RWBY would have been resolved if it wasn't for the gods being super fucking lazy, or just...
I mean, they're not obligated to resurrect.
They're not, but like all this could have been avoided if you just had this one big favor to ask of her later. Hey, okay, we will do this for you, but like you gotta give us your firstborn son or something like that, like equivalent exchange, right? A life for a life.
Gods don't usually work like that. They just kind of like exist and don't really do shit anyway. So like it's like Like, we created you. Whatever you did in your lifetime is what you did. We're not going to grant wishes.
Well,
It's not what gods do.
see, the funny thing is that Salem went to, and we're like 2 volumes behind, so I don't know how much I was going to say to give you a idea. Like, when we get to volume 6, you're gonna understand and why the gods fucking suck,